you better get out your cash for Valentine's Day because that chocolate is going to cost more. So if you really love her and you're going to spend the big bucks, you better get some real chocolate. So what are we talking about? So it has come out for the last couple months that the price of chocolate, or specifically cocoa beans, has gone up. I mean, we're talking, it has been steadily rising. We have talked about cocoa shortages, the cost of goods. Well, they're saying that the cocoa futures, which is the cost of cocoa, has doubled since October 1st. And that is the highest price increase for that commodity in 50 years. Okay.
Wow.
So it fluctuates just like any commodity, but there isn't as much fluctuation as you see where like high periods and low periods. We're like on a steady incline as far as cocoa prices. And of course, most chocolates, you have to have cocoa. But you may have noticed, especially in the last year, a lot of candy manufacturers have started really going towards maybe non chocolate flavors, or instead of traditional chocolate flavors, you'll see colored chocolate. And
Yeah.
whenever you see chocolate a different color than brown, that means more than likely it's made with white chocolate, which does not actually contain cocoa beans, which is why if you were like really very high and mighty on your chocolate bus, you would not consider white chocolate to be chocolate because it doesn't have cocoa. Now, part of what is driving up the cost here is inclement weather, labor issues, specifically in West Africa, which is where the majority of cocoa is grown. That's their main crop. On
Yeah.
top of that, they've also had super heavy rains last summer and then followed by a very, very long drought over the fall time. So even what they were able to grow dropped in production because of that unsteady weather. So they're basically estimating that the production of cocoa itself dropped almost 23% compared to
Ooh.
the previous year. And then you throw in the labor issues and everything else. I mean, you're talking about we have less cocoa, people still want it. It's classic supply and demand here. And even just as recently as Halloween and the holidays, you'll notice that there was a lot of candies out there that were branded for Halloween that you maybe hadn't seen as much in the past. Like I saw there was a lot of like fruity flavors or even like Halloween Skittles. Um,
Yeah.
this is like Kit Kat. They came out with a green Kit Kat bar, and you might go, "Oh, they made it green, so it's more Halloweeny." No, what they did is they made it green so they could use white chocolate and not have to use chocolate chocolate.
I had a
So,
cinnamon, no, I had a donut flavored Kit Kat. It was weird.
it came out and I had to try it just because I thought it was weird. It was a pink lemonade Kit Kat. And I
Oh,
think if you had not told me it was a Kit Kat, I would have tried it and I would have gone, you know what? It's not bad. But you get that image or like that flavor in your mouth of what you expect something to taste like. And
yeah.
I would never put chocolate chips in my glass of pink lemonade. So it was already just feeling weird, like,
Yeah.
flavor wise before I even ate it. And so it wasn't bad, but I wouldn't go out and buy another one.
Right. I have noticed during Christmas that Reese's has done more of the shapes, which
Mhm.
is fine by me because, in
Yeah, me
all
too.
honesty, if
Because
it
it has
doesn't,
a higher peanut butter to
yes,
chocolate versus chocolate to peanut butter.
yeah, but I actually really enjoy the shapes better because I like the ratio better. I will
I do
die
too.
on that hill. Like, I see a regular one now and I'm like, eh. But if you give me a big fat tree, I'm all over it.
Well, and here's the thing when you get a Reese's shape like that, you just open the package, you eat it. If you get a regular Reese's, I have to open the package. I have to carefully peel back my brown extra coating. And for some
Yeah,
reason, that extra step takes too long. I just don't care for it.
I know.
I have become spoiled by the shapes.
The
Not just
shapes make me happy. They
yeah,
make me happy.
definitely much better peanut butter to chocolate ratio. But so if you look at your big three companies, we're talking Hershey's, Nestle, and Mars.
Yeah.
Okay. Basically, a bunch of analysts are predicting that in order for these companies to keep up with the demand for treats, and they make their money by these holiday editions, that
Yeah.
you're going to see when it comes to Valentine's, you're going to see more gummies. You're going to see more of the white chocolate. You're going to see basically anything non chocolates. Or if you do see, I always think of like the little chocolate hearts with the
Oh,
heart of
yeah.
the chocolates in them and stuff. So in the past, that heart may have had 15 pieces of candy in it. Now it might only have 11. They're basically going to do some shrinkflation. What in the world was that? Did
A balloon?
did a balloon randomly wait a minute, is that what happens when like hot air comes out of your head? Like an actual balloon takes off?
That's what happens when my family's insane.
I mean, that was almost as good as like a tinfoil hat. Like you were full of hot air, here's your balloon.
It skimmed me on the head and just kept going. I was like, I
Oh
didn't know
my
this was happening.
God. Wow.
All right. Well, guess they don't like the non chocolatiness that's coming.
Apparently not. But so anyway, it was noted that so chocolate accounted for $21.4 billion when it came to confectionery sales, meaning like all candy sales. That's insane. Just during
That's
the last
nuts.
year, with 65% of consumers willing to indulge in chocolate. So that means that if you look at 100 people, 65 of them are willing to still buy chocolate even though it is more expensive
But I
because they
wonder
like
at what rate. Yeah, I wonder at what rate though. Like if it's like where they used to buy their candy bar every time you hit the aisles, now what if it's only once a week?
but or maybe okay, so let's say that they purchase twice a week and it was $1 each time, but now they're spending $1.50 on one, but they're only buying one. So the per purchase price is going up, but they're purchasing less, which is another way. It's kind of like shrinkflation as
Yeah.
well on there. So it is kind of there's speculation to those numbers.
Yeah.
And the Hershey CFO on their most recent earning call in November said that increased cocoa costs will continue to be an issue for the next year. Um, the amount that they may have to raise prices could significantly be raised. But he did tell investors that undoubtedly this is going to impact Hershey's fiscal performance in upcoming quarters. And the company is just not sure to what extent that's going to look like. And so I
Right.
think after coming off of holiday spending, where people tend to overbuy, I think you already have that kind of feeling where you're going to cut back a little bit
Yeah.
on, future holidays coming up like Valentine's Day. And then when people go to the store and they see that the chocolate treats are a little bit more expensive than the non chocolate, it's going to be noticeable. But then as well, I think that some people have that nostalgia for different treats.
Yeah.
Like you just happen to be a huge Reese's fan, even if that Reese's heart is going to cost a little bit more, you just really want it with that fear of missing out. So you're going to buy it anyway.
I think, but I do honestly think that even though people are still indulging in purchasing, that it's very likely that it's at a lower quantity. Like when I think about
Whereas they
Halloween,
may have bought 2 bags in the past, now they're just going to buy one. Like they're not going to cut it off completely. They're just scaling back.
right? So like when I think back to Halloween, and we went, we were going to buy candy because sometimes we have trick or treaters, sometimes we don't,
I never
and
did trick or treaters.
you have like seven houses on your street. You don't care. So We're at the beginning of a pretty decently sized subdivision, like in the first 7 or 8 houses. And then there's a good 50 to 70 houses that way. So, and a decent amount of kids. So we go to buy candy, and like a bag was like damn near $20.
For the
And I'm
name
like,
brand, like the stuff that people want. Like you could buy
that,
cheap candy, but it's the stuff that nobody wants.
well, it was more of the chocolatey stuff. And so I started looking around at like the bags that had like Starburst and Skittles and things like that, and they were more cost effective, or they were the same cost, but their count, like their piece count, was drastically higher. And
Yeah.
so, yeah,
And you
I
get
did.
that,
I
more
remember,
value, more
yeah.
value for your money.
So I
And
hadn't
so,
really considered why, but now it makes sense. Like the
yeah.
dots are connecting.
Well, and I noticed too that during Halloween and even for Christmas, like as far as like holiday candies and stuff, I saw a whole lot more stuff that was gummy,
Yeah,
gummy candy canes. Um, saw a ton. Sour candy is still very much the rage. So I saw tons of like the Sour Patch style,
uh,
different shapes and, even like in the shape of coal and, snowflakes, stuff like that. So I just see that we're going to see a whole lot more gummies and a lot less chocolate.
I think kids are much more inclined towards gummies. I'm not a fan of gummy candy in general. Like even getting a Twizzler for me is meh, if I'm honest. I
I
do love white chocolate though, but I am a white chocolate snob.
I will say my daughter is a huge fan of chocolate, like Hershey Kisses, straight like the original Hershey chocolate bars, and of course Reese's cups.
Yeah.
She's not a big fan of like the gummies. My son does not like chocolate. Like he could maybe do some chocolate icing, but not a ton on cake. But when it
Yeah.
comes to candy, he doesn't really want the chocolate. He wants that sour gummy stuff.
Yeah. Kids are weird.
They are weird. They are very weird. And what they like today, they may not like next week. So that's all up for interpretation next week.
Every time.
Every time.